thought was going to start off as fun. But gym horror stories. So I asked like the people I know on Instagram and stuff, some of their stories. So I have some of those, as well as pulled up some Reddit threads of people talking about their horror stories, all of which have been locked, by the way. We're going to go full steam ahead and read some of these stories. So let me switch on over to the other screen. I didn't want to give it away first. Pay no attention to that bird symbol. That was from another time. On the subreddit r/BJJ, Throwaway Ann started this thread 3 years ago. All right, it's spooky season, but tell me, what is your Academy horror story? Basically, the one thing that made you nope out of a place. Somebody came in as a mod and said, locked, going off the rails. Why are we offended at talking about the things that people have actually done? We should not. And as a community, these are things we absolutely need to be speaking about. And we're not just talking about like little tiny things like, oh, they kind of got like a cult-like behavior there. They worship the guy that runs the gym. Fine. That's not the worst thing in the world. But some of these things are literally the worst things in the world. Not just a bunch of dudes with a weird sense of humor or an inappropriate sense of humor, but like actually examples of the worst things in the world. So let's fucking dive in, shall we? Okay, RIP our boy Orlando Sanchez, but he's the first story in this one. Training at Orlando Sanchez's gym while traveling for work during no-gi rolling, he would train with no shirt, which we all know he does, and in between rounds would drink half a bottle of water, swish it around in his mouth, and like a giant whale, spray it all in a misty fountain upwards over his body and the mats. He'd rub his spit water all over himself and go back to rolling with his students. Now, for anyone that knows what Orlando Sanchez looked like, this is upsetting. this is on the lighter side of like, ugh, this is fucking rough. But he was a very big guy, liked to have that belly out quite a bit, and he's a pretty brutal dude. Like he was rough on the fucking mats. And to hear that this big sweaty dude with his gut hanging out would be all over you, and then on top of that, just fucking doing the Triple H bullshit, just fucking all over himself, dude. Oh, that'd be fucking gross, man. I gotta say, I would also have some pretty negative feelings about having to roll with Orlando after that. But that's a lighthearted one. That's fine. Moving on. Dark story. Coach had a student probably 10 years ago who used to tap anytime anything was ever remotely attempted, which, by the way, that already is like super annoying, right? Like you touch somebody like, oh, let's reset. It's like, how about we actually do some like positional sparring and jujitsu and stuff. Grab a collar, tap. It was silly, but this student was also overall a pretty weird dude. Eventually, he stopped showing up after only a short time attending. Not long after, he was on the news a few cities away for killing his girlfriend and chopping her up. Pay attention to everyone regardless of how disarming they appear to be. Woo! I got to agree with that guy. Because I can't tell you how many times, even here in the RGV, I can name names, but I'm not going to. Don't worry, RGV. We're not going to name any names on shit. But I mean, how many people did you get along with? They were very charming, this disarming, nice people. And then like a year later, they're, being arrested for, crazy fucking things. Not just like, oh, they got in a fight at a bar. Like, no, this person like stabbed this person and this person broke into someone's house and this person was grooming and all this other stuff. And it's like, don't let charm fool you, man. Like, look at people's actions. That is the only true way to get any truth in this community, is watch their actions. It's so important that you do that. And do not let their charm or their words bamboozle you. Like, if you see it enough, like, it's one thing for like a guy to do like, a shitty thing here or there. But it's like, if you're seeing a guy like always hurting people, always doing something sketchy, always in trouble with the law, always threatening people, always like there's always something about them, there's a pretty solid chance that you just like, you know what, for the best, maybe I just don't associate with that person. Safe bet, especially if you have a family. Moving on. A little joke post. After I got my blue belt, the coaches still expected me to show up. Listen, yeah, dude, I don't know what to tell you guys. If you're a black belt and you give people a blue belt, don't expect them to keep doing jujitsu. It's in their fucking DNA. They will quit because they are cowards. Ooh, here's a good one. This one. They very rarely to almost never clean the mats. People have these red rashes often, and then on a rare occasion, the mop came out on the mats, and I noticed that it was the same mop and water that just came from mopping the washroom. Oh, brother. You got to change those mop heads, man. The irony, when a few people had ringworm, the owner actually lines us up and starts lecturing us about the importance of hygiene. So this actually might be like a common stumbling block for a lot of people because they might not think about it. If you use your mop to mop the bathroom and then you go to your mats to mop the mats, you have fucked up. You needed to switch that out or do it backwards and then take the mop off, the mop head off, take it home and clean it. I visited a local gym as a purple belt who had been a purple belt for a long time. I had reached out ahead of time and set it up. It was mats that were out in a church rec center. I get there and the guy teaching is a brand new purple belt. I watch him teach kids class and it is ellipses interesting. He realizes just before class ends that I am wearing a purple belt that looks like it's been drug behind a truck, meaning that he's had it for a while and it's been through hell with him. That's usually not a good sign. Those people are usually, they kind of got marinated at their belt level for a long time. They're usually better than you probably want them to be for that belt. He pieces out and leaves a blue belt to teach class. There are maybe 10 people there. The blue belt is nice, but teaches some stuff that is at best odd and at worst just plain doesn't work. He walks around and corrects me doing the move in a way that actually works. At the end, I assume we're all going to roll, but he looks at me like I had an extra head, but agrees to do it. Everybody else sits on the edge of the mats and watches us roll. I'm nice, but the blue belt is wearing a giant metal knee brace and tells me he has no ACL. Anytime he has to put weight on that knee, he wanted to stop or start over. Class ends and I watch him roll up the mats, back up without cleaning them. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. I actually have a somewhat similar story. Again, I'm going to leave gym names and people out of this, but I recently went and visited my family in Arizona. Decided I was feeling a little spicy. I wanted to get in some rolling. Anytime I travel, if I have the opportunity to hit up an open mat and roll with new people and a new gym, I usually try to do that. So we decided today was the day. We went out to an open mat. Yes, they were celebrating, but they also had a smoke machine going on in the space while they were rolling. So breathing in there was I felt like I was just inhaling bullshit into my lungs. They only did 3-minute rounds also, which I always anytime I've ever been to a gym, and this is weirdly enough been mostly in Arizona. Anytime I'm in Arizona, I go to a gym and they're all doing 2-3-minute rounds and stuff like that for open sparring. And, I understand for competitive training, doing 2 or 3 minute hardcore rounds is great. But this is not that. This is just random rolling at the end of class. It was kind of the same thing. Everybody's watching me and watching me roll with people and stuff like that. Same thing in class. They were doing single legs. And it was a wrestler teaching. So he was doing hardcore wrestling versions of single legs. And I was doing the more jiu-jitsu version where, I have my head up because I don't want to get guillotined. I don't want to get kimura'd, right? Because they don't have those things in wrestling. And they were correcting me to put my head really low and all this other stuff. And I was like, dude, come on. But, especially when it's a lower belt doing it and stuff, you kind of just have to take the L and be respectful and stuff. But it doesn't feel good to know that hey, man, you should put your head low, get it low and all this other stuff. It's brother, I'm going to get guillotined so damn fast. And you're not going to leave me alone through this class if I don't do what you're telling me to do. So you're kind of forcing me to do it. So that was a class and the rolls come. Again, 3-minute rounds. I'm kind of basically getting Shark Tank. Most of the people are watching on the outskirts. And if there are some matches, it's there was one girl there and it's the girl's going and everyone's kind of just goofy rolling with her. No one's actually giving her any good training. This poor girl is never going to get taken seriously. And then the coach finally decides to roll with me and stuff. And they weren't oh, we don't really do leg locks and stuff. And it's okay, all right. That's fine, I guess. But I don't want to be disrespectful, so I don't leg lock anyone or anything like that. And it was just very 3 minutes of no one really wanting to engage, people coming into my guard and not trying to pass, but also not trying to attack or anything, just literally just trying to hold me down for 3 minutes. And it's man, 3 minutes is really not a long time to work, let alone when they're basically Shark Tanking you. So it's okay, your whole team is just holding me. This feels not fun. But yeah, it wasn't the worst experience. I just think it was a team with their expectations and what they wanted from their training was not really in the right place. So You just chalk it up to like, that was not fun, and you just leave. Not that they're bad people, or I'm sure they have a great team and they do well in their environment and stuff. But from my experience, that was like, oh, this terrible. And the whole time the smoke machine is going, and I'm just like, fucking like, why is it spicy? Moving on. Well, Kung Fu Penis, fantastic name by the way, says coach was abusing his partner. Yeah, like it's almost like black belts kind of fall upon their physical authority to really keep control of most of their environments. And this is part of what I call black belt brain rot. When you're like of that old school nature and you've been black belt long enough and haven't been exposed to like a lot of different places and teaching styles, you're probably one of those guys that was brought up in an environment where it was like just like the tough survive and everyone's just abusing each other and treating each other like shit, and you're expected to just like take it. And on the other side, it like makes you a better athlete or something like that. And those same people that like live and die by that kind of like old school mentality, there's a very high percentage, it seems, of people who are physically abusive. I don't know why people even take it. I think people forget that when you're running a gym, you are giving a product. And these people that are coming to the gym, because it's martial arts, for some reason, martial artists get this pass on being like weird cult leaders or like abusive people, because it's like, well, it's martial arts, man, it's supposed to make you tough. It's like, you're still paying a product. Customers do not take people higher up in the food chain treating you like shit. This is a business that can be sued, that can close down, and you can leave freely whenever you want. It is your money, it is your body. Please do not forget that at the end of the day, if you are getting hurt on purpose over and over again, it's one thing to get hurt like screwing around with your friends and like, something happens. But if somebody's actively constantly trying to hurt you, save your body. It is the only thing you truly own in this life. And if you can't walk because some fucking black belt with a goddamn daddy issue decided he was having a bad day and he wanted to beat up one of his white or blue belts and put him in the fucking wheelchair, then like, dude, it's not worth it. Save your body. Go find a better gym. Fuck those guys forever. And if you're one of those guys that are seeing this and it feels like the shoe fits, well, motherfucker, the shoe fits for a reason. Stop being a piece of shit. It's that easy. You're running a product and you don't deserve to have success if that's the kind of way that you're going to be treating people. Fuck you. All right, moving on to Butt Funk 69. You know what? As a guy, I just got to take a moment to appreciate just the simplicity of coming up with a shitty internet name. I love it. When I was a 2-stripe white belt, I rolled with my instructor, a 2-stripe black belt, for the first time. He took my back and went for the RNC. I tucked my chin instinctively. He applied the jawbreaker quickly and I tapped. It felt like someone had poured sand into my mouth. Turns out it wasn't sand, but it was tiny pieces of my teeth. Was it my fault for not wearing a mouth guard? His fault for ripping the jawbreaker on me? At the time, I thought it was my fault for lacking the knowledge of proper RNC defense and not wearing a mouth guard. I continued to train there for about a year and a half before I moved due to work. Looking back as a purple belt now, it was 100% his fault. The guy is such a douche. 100 fucking percent. Okay. Now, yes. Can we say, well, of course you didn't know how to defend an RNC. Like, obviously you didn't. You were a white belt. And yes, you can say, well, 2-stripe white belt, but like, no, that's still nothing. That is 2 drops in a very large bucket. It doesn't fucking matter. And chances are, even if you were taught how to defend an RNC, you haven't spent enough time doing it that like you will be sharp, whatever it is. But obviously defending with your chin is not a great idea. So all those things are true. Yes, those need to be worked on. You need to take responsibility for that you need to protect yourself at all times properly. And that is kind of what this journey is. Even if you have somebody who's a higher rank that you trust and stuff like attacking you, you cannot truly trust them. Again, as I said before, one of these fucking daddy issue black belts can just be having a really bad day. And next thing you know, he's taking his anger out on you and hurting you because he just fucking felt like it. And he knew you wouldn't be able to stop him. So unfortunately, even with our friends and our partners, we have to defend ourselves at all times. So in that sense, it is your job to learn those things as quickly and efficiently as possible so it doesn't happen to you. With that being said, at the root of this entire issue, that is a fucking black belt who is I'm assuming running his own gym, he should fucking know better. You should not be retaining students if you're just out there like crushing people's teeth, breaking people's jaws, ripping people's fingers apart, breaking toes, popping knees. If you're that fucking guy, you do not deserve success. And I hope that the day comes that your students realize you're not worth it. It's on him. It's not on you. It's on him. If you're a lower belt, that person should be taking care of you. And if your limits are here, he should be taking you here. Just a little bit, right? Like just constantly pushing your limits a little bit further than you're comfortable. At no point does that come down to dusting your fucking teeth like he's Thanos, just snapping your shit, dude. Like, fuck that guy. Educational Cellist 8. 3 years ago posted, I travel for work, so I visit a ton of gyms. I went to a place run by a blue belt who promoted himself to purple belt. Ooh, you know that's a good start to the story. He started class with a warm-up of 200 break falls, 75 front, 75 back, and 50 rolling. First off, I just want to say 200 break falls is fucking crazy. So for any of those guys out there who like, oh, you hear 200 break falls, it's not that big of a deal. Like 15 minutes, you can get that done. Sure. First off, let me just say there's a whole business built around teaching these things, right? And it's professional wrestling. So when you take a fall to your back, that is called a bump. Okay. These bumps add up over time. This is why a lot of 50-year-old wrestlers just stop, because even a basic bump to your back on a ring that is designed to absorb, by the way, a WWE ring is very bouncy. These professionals who know how to take that fall well, even in their 50s and stuff, stop taking bumps because that creates CTE. And even a simple back bump where you fall from a standing position down to your back, hands out, and you displace your energy as best as you can, that can literally trigger CTE. Right? Literally give you a fucking concussion. And that is on a ring designed to absorb bumps. A jiu-jitsu match, and again, I'm assuming this mat is not sitting on a spring-loaded floor or anything like that. And even if it is, that still hurts. I used to train gymnastics all the time. We would be on spring-loaded floors. I promise you, every fall on a spring-loaded floor is not like falling on a pillow. You can still screw your shit up really bad falling on a spring-loaded floor. So, but I'm assuming your average jiu-jitsu gym does not have springs on the floor. It is just mats on top of concrete most of the time. Sometimes there'll be like that little layer of like cushion that they put down underneath it, but even that does not absorb shit in comparison. I promise you, as a guy who's done martial arts, also gymnastics and parkour for 12 years, that little cushion takes out a sting, but it does not take out the impact. 200 break falls to warm up your class is going to fuck your people's brains up. Maybe not today, and maybe not tomorrow, but it will. And you need to super take your time with doing break falls very gently. The whole art of parkour is the first year or two of your journey in parkour is kind of hinging on your ability to very slowly and carefully learn to fall on concrete. Because a single minor fall onto hard ground, I've literally seen it decimate someone's wrist, like literally break it in a way that the bone shattered in different directions and poked out the skin. Just literally falling from like a 1.5 foot drop onto concrete. You got to take that shit seriously. Anyways, moving on. After for sure suffering a concussion from the warm-up, we moved on to him, who did not do the warm-up, wanted to roll live against me in front of the class because since I was a purple belt, he wanted to prove to his class that he was a badass. I tapped him. Of course, most of these people who like live and die by their egos on the mats, those types of people just suck most of the time. They're usually strong, they're usually tough, but their actual technical prowess is often usually lacking. And at least in my experience, you know, at this point I was punch drunk, pissed off, and just fed up with this idiot being allowed to endanger people with several unsafe practices I saw throughout the instruction. He then decided to run me through a shark tank or a gauntlet to welcome me to the area. What a fucked up way to like, you're trying to bring this person into your group, and the way that you do that is by putting a spotlight on them and with the desire to embarrass them. Not a great fucking strategy, man. That sucks. Especially when he's a seasoned belt. Like purple belt, at that point, I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt and say, purple belt, you're not stupid anymore. You're not some young, influential guy in the sport anymore. You are somebody who kind of has a bearing on what you're doing. You have game plans. You have success in tournaments and rolling with higher belts. Like, this is somebody that doesn't just walk through the door and get treated like a noob. This is somebody that you should treat with some kind of reverence and respect, even if you're a black belt, because purple belts, that's when you're really starting to like light up black belts and stuff. So I think it is important that a black belt should also respect the potential of brand new purple belts walking through your door. His guys were not very good, but all out for blood. We've all been there. It fucking sucks when a bunch of like strong athletic morons that don't know shit are just going at you. As a matter of fact, I won't name drop any names, but it actually happened at my gym. We had somebody come visit, and a seasoned purple belt who could handle themselves perfectly fine went against them. And this guy was going really hard, and the purple belt dominated. But at the end of that match, the purple belt's lips fucking split, blood coming out of his gums. He's got a cut down the side of his face. Those things add up, and it sucks. Even against an opponent who doesn't know what they're doing, it still adds up if they're strong and athletic. They tried to rip anything they got a hold of, including single fingers and my cock. I mean, you're just doing jujitsu wrong if you ain't ripping cocks, brother. What can I say? 3 minutes into what ended up being a 15-minute Shark Tank, I stopped being nice. I started to do exclusively heel hooks, bicep slicers, and nasty trachea-directed chokes. Brother, I give you the fucking blessing. As another random guy on the internet, fuck him, dude. Like, you're going to a gym to try to figure out, like, where, you know, like, I just want to train and stuff, and your welcoming is a bunch of, like, I'm assuming white belts, athletic white belts trying to rip your shit apart. Fuck them. They would break you if they had the chance. So take the Craig Jones approach, break him first, and then fucking see you later. Good luck with that. The stupid group of meth heads, led by their brave and fearless self-promoted purple belt, did not like to tap. I had to take subs to the point of me wincing in fear of hurting somebody. Several times I let go of things so I didn't hurt the other guy. Looking back, I should have just taken people's backs and focused on RNCs, but due to 200 break falls and see how your decision making is affected under pressure. Again, I would 100% agree. You take 200 bumps like that, your neck, your head, your back, your body's going to be feeling it, and you are not going to be as inclined to be nice about what happens to your body and the rolls. So, I mean, giving up an arm after you've taken a bunch of break falls and your shoulders are hurting, you probably don't want to do that, and you probably shouldn't do that. So, yeah, dominate those people. It's either you or them, and they clearly don't give a fuck about you, so make it them. I put this guy who kept trying to rip back into a straight ankle lock as hard as I could into a heel hook. I applied it extremely slow. Next thing you know, pop. A loud snapping sound came from his leg. I let go, he screamed, and then he tried to keep rolling even though he was clearly hurt, and I was trying to let him go. He let go, and now you're getting up to keep fighting? Yeah. Obviously, these people are stupid. I'm sure they're not watching this video and will never learn a single lesson ever from anything, but we can at least laugh at how stupid some of these people are. This post was posted 3 years ago. 3 years of people training like that, their whole squad's probably just broken and fucked up. All of them walking around like the meows, dude. Like, just fucking like tin men and scarecrows wobbling all over the place. Posted by the Ken Dragon 3 years ago. I moved to a new area as a 2-stripe white belt and was looking for a new gym. I was really nervous about it because my partner would be moving out later and he was a brown belt at the time. So I was essentially picking a gym that would be good for both of us and didn't feel qualified. The first gym I tried was the biggest name gym. Not a single student or instructor greeted me when I came in. I was the only woman and the only one without a partner after warm-ups. Oh, that's where you screwed up. Shouldn't have been a woman in jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows being a woman in jiu-jitsu is a mistake. Should have been a guy. I asked 2 smaller white belts if I could work in with them, and one said, I guess, and reluctantly let me drill maybe 10% of the time. During open rolls, the purple belt assistant instructor, who was a giant guy and probably had close to 100 pounds on me, asked me to roll and was pretty much letting me work, assessing my level. Typical new student stuff, 100%. Whenever I let new people in the gym, even if I get the sense that they're pretty good at stuff, I still kind of like let them do stuff just so I can get like a gauge. He gave me side control and I went for a paper cutter choke. He didn't realize what I was doing until I had it fully set up, and then he threw me off of him. Like all of my body was at least 2 feet off the floor. Then I was gathering my stuff to leave. The head instructor started telling me about his tantric sex workshops. Because of fucking course. He did. I found a really good gym for both of us, but that seriously nearly made me want to give up jiu-jitsu for months until my partner moved out and could go with me. Luckily, the next gym I tried ended up being our home gym, and a friendly blue belt immediately took me under her wing, and everyone was so nice. Props to the friendly blue belt taking another woman under her wings. This sport, I've watched it, especially down here in the RGV, like, you know, very Hispanic culture where machismo is very much a thing. I know people outside the RGV might be like, don't fucking bring in culture to this. No. Anyone in the RGV from any background would 100% back me up that machismo, not only in jiu-jitsu, but RGV jiu-jitsu is fucking like another level of bullshit. So I could only imagine the journey that your average woman has to take starting jiu-jitsu in this place. And I could name numerous gyms because I've been at like, I think it's, 12 different gyms in my entire journey of jiu-jitsu over 8 years. I think 6 of those gyms were here. A lot of those gyms I left because I started seeing cracks forming between the leaders of the gym and their students and the inappropriate relationships going on there. And yes, these are adults. I'm not saying that there's grooming going on, but I'm saying just merely the idea that a black belt would be super okay with fucking their students. To me, that was already like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play this game. Because once you start doing that, and this girl maybe like stops liking the black belt and starts liking like a blue belt or something like that, then this black belt's going out for blood against this blue belt because it's an ego thing. It's a fucking machismo guy bullshit thing. I don't know, man. Again, black belt brain rot. They forget how to actually pick up women in an environment that's not jiu-jitsu, right? Because they have no fucking social skills. They spend all their time on their mats at their gym that they forget what it means to actually like go out into the world and, I don't know, be a nice fucking guy and pick up a woman there. Instead, they lure their women in and be like, this is a totally safe space for women. We got you. And then in fucking weeks, you're getting those DMs like, hey, great roll. And ask that black belt. If you're a woman getting your DMs from the black belt, be like, wow, that was a really great roll we had. Wow, it was so some say it would be the greatest roll I've ever had in my life. If they're doing that to you, ask them if they're doing that to any of the guys. Most of them are not DMing the guys. And I'm not saying you can't date within the sport, man. It's going to fucking happen. But goddamn, dude, if you're a brown and black belt chasing white belt females, blue belt females, man, just get a fucking hobby, dude. Just get a different hobby like that can get you out into the world and you can meet women that way. It's so fucking stupid and it's so sad to watch. I've only been in the game for 8 years, but I've seen this 1,000 times already. Keep your wits about you, and don't be charmed by these guys. These guys are probably DMing 3 other fucking white belt females. Don't be fooled and don't be bamboozled by the fact that a black belt's taking interest in you. This is the only watering hole they have. They spend every day on the mats being an autistic fucking moron, have zero social skills. All they know how to do is like yell at people and like beat people up. So they're using that as like their social currency. It's lame, dude. Anyways, moving on to the personal stories. So this isn't so much like a gym horror story. This is just one of our guys had his first tournament experience, and he accidentally signed up for an absolute bracket as a brand new white belt. So I did try to kind of nicely nudge him to be like, hey, man, absolute brackets are no joke. I tried to tell him, like, I would struggle in this bracket if I did this. But, he went ahead with it, and he took on the challenge, and unfortunately, the guy popped my ankle in the first round and couldn't complete the other matches. So he got in kind of like a nasty takedown and his ankle broke basically on the takedown. Again, first 20 seconds of his first match ever, happened to be in an absolute bracket. The guy took him down. Obviously, he didn't tap to the ankle break. He actually just he kept fighting. And then eventually he tapped to something else and then couldn't really walk off the mat. And the guy could not continue his own matches. So that sucks. Got his ankle broke and then tapped for nothing, only for the other guy to back out as soon as the match was done. We're keeping everything anonymous here. Higher belts and heavier men intentionally hurting female athletes. What I was just talking about in the previous post. Again, there's so many machismo, egotistical guys that like live and die by how they do at open mats and post-training session, rolls and stuff. And they roll like it's ADCC. It's crazy. And let's be real, guys. Like, we can sit here and say, like, men and women are equal in all things. I hate to be the guy on the internet that's doing this. Women are generally smaller than men. Women also, generally speaking, put on less muscle mass than men. And they do it slower. Yes, I do believe that there are some statistics out there that say that women do learn skills faster than men, generally speaking. But as we all know, you need a lot of skills to outdo someone's size and strength. And again, it falls on the higher belt. If I am a black belt rolling with a blue belt female or a white belt female who is going hard and their efforts to go hard is offending me, first off, I'm a bitch, right? I'm the leader of the gym. It is my job inherently to like, okay, fine, I'm going to let this person work. And if I get subbed because I thought they were here and they went here, and I got punished for that, it is what it is. It's okay to tap to your fucking white and blue belts because you were letting them work and they punish you for it. That was the point of letting them work. You should not punish them for that. Additionally, if this female is 130 pounds, 120 pounds, whatever weight, if there's a massive gap between you and them, fucking chill with the pressure, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I was like a scrappy little white belt trying to take on female purples and browns and blacks. And I went harder than I should. And I had to learn this lesson too. From my experience, dude, don't fucking do it, man. But if you're 240 pounds fighting a 140-pound person, whether it's female or male, man, what are you doing? Why are you like, relax, okay? You can relax. It's okay. I used to be the asshole too that was going hard with everybody. It's okay to relax. It's okay to get subbed. You know, it is what it is. Probably try not to be dicks. Okay, so this is another anonymous post from some friends. I've become more vocal over the years about my opinions about jiu-jitsu and the community aspect due to, again, being brought up in a very traditional school where none of that was allowed. Shit, I remember trying to cross-train at Redacted one time as a blue belt and then getting my ass kicked when I came back to my academy the next day for it, and the upper belts completely being open about it too, meaning that they endorsed it and they acknowledged it. After enough red flags, I became so vocal that I ruffled enough feathers at headquarters, and that led to them parting. I mean, again, this whole like cult-like culture of just like, you know, how dare you cross-train at another place? Again, let me be blunt. My opinion on cross-training is cross-training has been one of the single most useful tools I have ever had in my life. I started at a pretty recreational gym. The guys were technically minded. They were very great teachers, and they set a great example for what learning in jiu-jitsu looks like to me. And I'll thank them for that forever. But they weren't competitive, and I wanted to compete. So I started cross-training at different places to kind of get that fulfillment. And I'm glad I did, because I got, exposed to so many different styles and mentalities, for better or worse, right? But because of those bad experiences, I can sit here 8 years down the road and be like, well, I know what assholes look like real assholes in jiu-jitsu. You know, there's a difference between going hard and people trying to hurt each other, or, a very opinionated leader versus somebody who wants to be treated like a king, like those. It's sometimes hard to differentiate between those things, but because I bounced around and saw those things in real life, I feel like I'm way more qualified at deciding for myself what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, and who I want to be led by. Cross-training should be 100% allowed. And again, in my opinion, if you are at a gym who is really negative about cross-training, it's fine for them to decide for themselves. I've ran into plenty of black belts who are like, yeah, I just don't like cross-training. It's different now. I have my own gym. I kind of want to keep my skills and my knowledge over here because that's what makes my gym brand special. 100%, I agree to that. But if they're stopping you from going and cross-training, I would say that is a massive red flag. And I think anyone with a brain in jiu-jitsu, especially any of the higher level guys, they're very critical about like allowing cross-training, because that's how great knowledge spreads, right? And you'd be surprised how many niche skills have like so much depth to it. So it's like, yeah, I could teach you guard passing until you get hit with a guard that I don't see very often, and the guy is a higher level version of that guard that requires a little bit more nuance to how you engage with their guard. And the only way to get exposed to that is to train with the guy that is really good at that guard. And if none of the guys at your gym do that, I'm not saying leave the gym immediately and go with the guy that has that one good guard, but certainly like cross-train with the guy. Pick his brain, be nice to him, invite him to your gym too, and help spread that information so like your whole area can come up together. And then eventually, next thing you know, all these guys that were spotty all over your city that were really good at shit, they're working together, and you're all going to ADCC together. And some of you guys are qualifying at trials, or doing well at IBJJF, at PANS, or whatever. And the only way you do that is just by like opening your doors to people who are better than you at other stuff. And if you have a coach that's stopping you from doing that, or worse, punishing you for doing it, I wish I could say that those people are going to fail. But unfortunately, again, with the hall pass that jiu-jitsu gets, as like a martial art. So all these like weirdos can like exist in martial arts, and eventually after 15 years they just fail forward into a black belt, and then they open their own gym. And again, because it's martial arts, so it's like, whoa, they have some kind of like mystical wisdom to them, and it's they don't. And then just simply by being hard-headed, so many idiots stumble forward into jiu-jitsu, and they look better than they are because everyone else in the gym is mostly new. Because most people that do jiu-jitsu, if we wanted to say 70% of people that do jiu-jitsu are white belts. They're all beginning their journey, or blue belts. And yeah, blue belt is an achievement, but that's still very low on the totem pole. So if you've been training for 15 years, even if you're not particularly good, the ratio is going to still be in your favor. If you were just the guy that just kept showing up, even if you're dumb as a bag of bricks, man, you're still going to like pick up enough stuff to stomp the white and blue belts most of the time. Eventually you get your black belt, because it's more of like grading on a curve, where it's like, oh, those white belts are good, we'll move them up to blue. And oh, these blue belts are doing good in the room, we'll move them up to purple. And then this idiot who's a brown belt, who's been here for 15 years, he's kind of mopping the floor with everyone but the black belt that runs the gym. So we'll also move him up to black belt, because fuck it, he's the next most experienced guy. And these people fail forward, and they think that black belt is some kind of justification to their character. Like it is a reward for being a good and smart and intelligent person, when in reality, sometimes it's just a reward for being the dumbest guy in the room that didn't stop coming. It is what it is, man. Jiu-jitsu is an interesting place. The people in jiu-jitsu also very interesting. I mean, we all got to survive. So I just keep your wits about you. Keep your eyes open. Look around, make sure that what you're seeing makes sense, and that the people you're working with are trying to find truth in their sport, but also trying to be a good person on top of that. And if those things are not met, it's okay to leave. Never forget, it's okay to go to a different gym. If you feel like you are not being treated well, not being respected, or you're not learning anything, you were paying for a product. It's okay to get the fuck out of there. Jiu-jitsu is a weird place. Anyways, that's it for episode 3. This is going to be a long one, I think. But have a good one, guys. Episode 4 is going to be special. It's going to be a guest interview with somebody I'm really excited to talk to. So keep your eyes open for that. And I'll see you guys later whenever I feel like doing it. Have a good one. See ya.